Explosions can happen without a moment's notice. There are a variety of reasons why an explosion may occur. Today's video will focus on a few of these explosions, including the 2020 Beirut explosion. Here you'll learn about the kind of explosions that occurred, how they occurred, how many people were harmed, and much more. So pay close attention to the video till the end. Explosions are created by a variety of complex events that result in quick gas and energy growth. There are various forms of explosions, including natural, chemical, mechanical, and nuclear explosions. As a result, the causes of these various types of explosions vary. AZF Chemical Factory. An explosion occurred on September 21, 2001 at the AZF fertilizer mill in Toulouse, France, owned by the Grand Paroisse. In the factory, 300 tons of ammonium nitrate were stockpiled. The entire plant was destroyed, leaving a crater roughly 7 meters deep and 40 meters in diameter. Steel girders were discovered 1.9 miles from the explosion. The explosion could be heard from 50 miles away. The explosion was said to have occurred in numerous locations due to the acoustics of the hills and the huge sound. Police initially suspected that at least 5 devices had detonated at the same time. The exact number of explosions are still being debated. The factory was near the city. Approximately 10% of Toulouse's population had to be evacuated. The accident resulted in 31 deaths, around 30 serious injuries, and 2,500 minor casualties. 2/3 of the windows in the city were shattered, resulting in 70 eye injuries. Insurance companies paid out more than 1.5 billion euros in total damages. Although authorities initially considered the explosion as an accident, the then Environment Minister believed that it could have been a terrorist assault in the aftermath of the September 11th attacks. The body of a worker known to possess Islamic fundamentalist sentiments was discovered in the blast and probed, but the official investigation determined that the explosion was unintentional. Beirut explosions. On March 15, 2008, at approximately midnight local time, an ex-military ammunition storage in the village of Beirut, which is part of the Vore municipality of Albania, the U.S. and Albanian munitions experts were ready to burn stocks of outmoded ammunition. The old munitions were supposed to be destroyed methodically with a series of small, controlled explosions. However, a series of events caused the entire stockpile to go up at once. Hundreds of houses were destroyed within a few kilometers of the depot, and the primary explosion shattered car windows on the Tirana-Durrës highway, which contained more than 400 tons of propellant in containers. The blasts could be heard for up to 110 miles. Thousands of artillery shells, the majority of which had not burst, littered the region. The explosion destroyed all of the windows in the terminal building at the country's only international airport, and all flights were halted for about 40 minutes. Some of the zone's 4,000 residents were evacuated and granted shelter in state-owned resorts. Albanian officials had verified 26 deaths as a result of the explosions. Over 300 people were hurt, according to Albanian officials. The explosions damaged or destroyed 2,306 buildings, according to estimates released by the Prime Minister's office. 318 of these buildings were destroyed, 200 were severely damaged, and 188 were less severely damaged. Possible causes discovered included human mistakes during the process, such as smoking a cigarette or destroying a fuse, faulty ammunition storage, or use of untrained employees without technical understanding, a violation of technical security standards in the location where ammo was destroyed, and sabotage. 19 individuals were convicted due to a breach in safte regulations. Lac Megantic rail disaster. The Lac Megantic rail catastrophe happened on July 6, 2013 in the town of Lac Megantic, Quebec, Canada, when an unattended 73-car Montreal, Maine, and Atlantic Railway freight train carrying Bakken Formation crude oil derailed downtown after rolling down a 1.2% grade from Nantes, causing multiple explosions and igniting all of the oil cars. There were 47 fatalities. More than 30 buildings in Locktown Megantic Center were destroyed. accounting for about half of the downtown area, and all but 3 of the 39 remaining structures had to be demolished owing to petroleum pollution of the town site. According to the first newspaper reporting, the explosion radius was 0.6 miles. With 47 fatalities, this is the 4th deadliest rail catastrophe in Canadian history, and the deadliest involving a non-passenger train. It is also the deadliest rail catastrophe in Canada since the country's Confederation in 1867. Causes discovered for this accident were negligence, malfunctioning locomotives, poor maintenance, driver error, inadequate operating procedures, weak regulatory control, and lack of safety redundancy. All but 800 of the evacuated residents were permitted to return to their houses by the afternoon of the 3rd day, and all but 200 were permitted to return on the 6th day. At least 20 people had nowhere to go. Because of the heat and poisonous conditions, firemen and investigators worked in 15-minute shifts for the first month at the catastrophe site. Hydrocarbons contaminated the waterfront at Veterans Park and the town marina. San Pablito Market fireworks explosion. On December 20, 2016, a fireworks explosion happened at the San Pablito Market in northern Mexican city of Tultepec. At least 42 people were killed and many more were injured. Tultepec has a thriving fireworks culture and industry with a 200-year history of producing fireworks. In the municipality of Tultepec, 436 fireworks workshops or sellers were registered. The cause of the explosion is uncertain, although preliminary reports indicate that gunpowder from the pyrotechnics sparked the explosion. It was stated that up to 300 tons of fireworks were for sale at the market. Jose Manzur, representing the government of the state of Mexico, indicated that the government will cover all buried and medical expenses for those who died and were injured. President Enrique Peña Nieto expressed his sympathies and directed federal agencies to work with state authorities to assist impacted families, particularly in medical care. The head of San Pablito Market announced that vendors would get government assistance to help replace their losses and promised that the market will reopen. Beirut explosion. On August 4, 2020, a massive amount of ammonium nitrate stockpiled in the port of Beirut on Lebanon's capital city exploded. After being captured by Lebanese officials from the abandoned ship MV Rosus, a cargo of 2,750 tons of the chemical had been stored in storage without sufficient safety procedures for the preceding 6 years. A fire in the same warehouse preceded the explosion. At least 218 people were killed, 7,000 were injured, and $15 billion in property damage was destroyed, leaving an estimated 300,000 people homeless. The explosion shook the entire country of Lebanon. It was felt in Turkey, Syria, the Palestinian territories, and Israel, as well as areas of Europe, and was heard almost 150 miles away in Cyprus. The blast emitted a red-orange cloud into the air, which was briefly encircled by a white condensation cloud. Nitrogen dioxide, a byproduct of ammonium nitrate breakdown, was responsible for the orange-red color of the smoke. It is regarded as one of the most powerful unintended non-nuclear explosions in history. Warehouses in Beirut's port were used to store explosives and chemicals such as nitrates, which are common components of fertilizers and explosives. The failure to remove and relocate the materials was attributed to port incompetence, government corruption, and the flag registry's country and ship owners' delay. The explosion damaged homes up to 6 miles away and might have displaced up to 300,000 people. The grain elevator was extensively damaged, increasing food shortages caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and the financial crisis. About 15,000 tons of grains were lost, leaving the country with less than a month's supply. However, a portion of the elevator's robust structure survived, protecting a huge region of western Beirut from further damage. The blast damaged more than half of Beirut, with an estimated cost of more than $15 billion and insured damages of roughly $3 billion. Outside of the emergency room, good triage in hospitals had a significant role in saving lives. Following the Beirut explosion, a study of the disaster plan and a thorough examination of hospital coordination are required. In reaction to the accident, the Lebanese government issued a 2-week state of emergency. Protests occurred across Lebanon in response to the government's failure to avert the disaster, joining a larger series of protests that have been taking place across the country since 2019. Alright, explosions can be created by a variety of reactions, which produce severe shockwaves with a variety of serious outcomes. Understanding why explosions occur might thus be beneficial. So, guys, we've come to the conclusion of the list. Hope you enjoyed the video. If so, support us by liking, commenting, and sharing the video. Also, subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.